Bernie Sanders was being interviewed, and a reporter asked him, "What's the difference between you and Elizabeth Warren?" Let's take a look.
So let me ask you, you and Elizabeth Warren have pretty close to identical positions on the big issues. What do you say to those who say that they would pick her because she's 8 years younger than you, she didn't just come through this, didn't just have a heart attack, and look, in the positions, you're pretty much the same?
Well, look, every American is going to make his or her own choice about the candidate that they want. And Elizabeth Warren has been a friend of mine for some 25 years. And I think she is a very, very good senator. But there are differences between Elizabeth and myself. Elizabeth, I think, as you know, has said that she is a capitalist through her bones. I'm not. I think the situation today that we face in this country of the greed and the corruption that is existing in Washington, that is existing at the corporate elite level, where you have massive amounts of price fixing going on in the drug companies, where we're the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people, where we have right now, as we speak, in the fossil fuel industry, you got companies making billions of dollars a year in profit, doing what? Oh, by the way, they're destroying the planet, all right? And I think business as usual and doing it the old-fashioned way is not good enough. It's not regulation now. What we need is, in fact, I don't want to get people too nervous, we need a political revolution. I am, I believe, the only candidate who's going to say to the ruling class of this country, the corporate elite, enough with your greed and with your corruption. We need real change in this country.
So you don't think that's what Elizabeth Warren is
saying?
Well,
look, Elizabeth is a friend of mine. She will speak for herself. I've just told you what I view.
But you have said there are differences, and you just mentioned a label.
Well, it's not a label. I mean, Elizabeth considers herself, if I got the quote correctly, to be a capitalist to her bones. I don't. And the reason I am not is because I will not tolerate for 1 second the kind of greed and corruption and income and wealth inequality and so much suffering that is going on in this country today, which is unnecessary.
All right. There are many things to say here. First of all, about time, Bernie. All right. Now, I think he can go a lot harder. Okay. I think he should go a lot harder. It's about time you take the gloves off, Bernie. All right. Because nobody's going to show any mercy. You're the real deal, and you need to prove that to people and show why you're different from Warren. People love it when you do it. I love it, and this is not enough. It's good, but it's not enough. Now, yeah, Elizabeth Warren has said, I'm a capitalist to my bones. I mean, Bernie Sanders is also a capitalist. I don't understand why people think Bernie is post-capitalist. People who think that are either lying or they literally have no idea about politics. Bernie is not a post-capitalist. Okay, he doesn't believe in nationalizing, expropriating, and taking away privately owned businesses. No, he wants to maintain the status quo, but with more regulation from the government to even the wealth inequality and close the gap, because we have enormous wealth inequality. He's not saying I want to take over private businesses and expropriate and nationalize the industries. So Bernie is also a capitalist. Most communists and socialists think Bernie is too soft. Bernie is the compromise candidate for real socialists and communists, all right? Because there is no such thing as one kind of socialism, as I said in my previous video. There are many kinds of socialism. There isn't one definition. Anyone who tells you there's one definition of socialism is an idiot. You have Arab socialism, Latin American socialism, European socialism, American socialism. You have socialism that is like Bernie Sanders, where we keep privately owned businesses, but we tax them a bit more heavily. We regulate the market. Then you have socialism, where we take over privately owned businesses, we nationalize the industries. And then you have a third kind, whereas we want to work as co-ops, make the workplace more democratic. All right? So this whole notion that Bernie's a socialist is garbage from the beginning. I mean, he's maybe a social democrat. This is the problem with American politics. Both parties have shifted so far right that they would call a centrist a lefty or a communist. No, this is a joke. Anywhere else on the planet, Bernie Sanders is a center-left person. Okay, he's a center, slightly left politician. It's just facts. It's the truth. People keep saying that Bernie's ideas are radical. No, they are really not, okay? They are really not. Elizabeth Warren, I mean, she's definitely a capitalist to her bones. I believe that. I believe that for sure. Bernie is a capitalist, but yes, Elizabeth Warren is definitely one to her bones, because she doesn't really represent a true threat to the party. Otherwise, she wouldn't be the darling of the mainstream media. Believe me, man, if you represent a true threat to the establishment and the corporate media, they're not going to give you free airtime and kiss your ass like they're doing right now to Elizabeth Warren. All right. Now, I've gone into detail over and over again about Warren. She flip-flops on Medicare for all. You know, she says, I support Medicare for all, but then she also gives off signals to the private health insurance industry and big pharma that she's still open to other options, meaning let's keep the status quo, right? She's not really going to regulate them. And then the thing with not taking corporate money, I mean, the fact that it took her this long to come around and finally say, oh, I'm not going to take any in the general is already a red flag. All right, she should have been from the beginning, I don't take corporate money. End of story. End of story. There is no excuse. So you can rationalize it all day long. It is corrupt to take corporate money. She should have said that from the beginning. And now we still know that actually she is going to take corporate money for the Democratic Party if she gets the nomination. So she's still taking corporate money in the end. Status quo will stay status quo. Nothing's going to really change. And Elizabeth Warren, she's very strong on Wall Street, on the banks, on corruption. We think, I hope so. But she's given off vibes that she's not really 100% behind her positions. She says she is, but then she goes and says different things on the campaign trail. And then she has vague language on her website. You know, which one is it? I don't have to worry about Bernie Sanders if he means what he says. This is very good what Bernie's doing because, you know, most of the time he's asked a question about Joe Biden. He's asked a question about any other candidate. And he always starts off with, Joe Biden is a friend of mine. Elizabeth Warren is a friend of mine. All right, Bernie, it's really nice. We can be friends, but you are better than these candidates. You are a once in a lifetime candidate. You are Bernie Sanders. You are the one who has shifted this party. Show him, man. Show him again why we should take you. All right. Show him why you're the best one. Take the gloves off, man. Point out that Elizabeth Warren took corporate money in 2018 during her Senate bid and then pushed that money into her presidential campaign and then says she doesn't take corporate money. Say that on camera. Say that Joe Biden voted for the Iraq war. I mean, you have already, but say it again and again. Say that Joe Biden is a racist who supported segregation. Call them out, Bernie. You didn't do all those things. You are better than them. You never took corporate money. You didn't vote for the Iraq war. You are a better candidate. Say it over and over until it gets into people's heads. And Bernie Sanders is completely right. He is the one that the donor class, that the 1% truly fear. Yes, he is, man. All right. Because Facebook and Comcast and all these other rich companies have never donated to Bernie Sanders. All right. Bernie Sanders don't take their money. Bernie Sanders doesn't work for them. All right. They hate Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders forces Amazon and Walmart and Disney to raise their workers' wages. He's a threat to them. When Bernie goes out on the picket line, best believe something's coming out. All right. So he represents a real threat to them. Like I said, man, if Elizabeth Warren was really, going to do what she says, if she was really as, straight as Bernie Sanders, she would not be getting as much airtime and they would not be kissing her ass. How do I know this? Because we already had Bernie Sanders, who you say, is so common to Elizabeth Warren, in 2016. And they barely gave him any coverage on purpose because they wanted to push the establishment candidate. So I don't know what the whole strategy is here, the Machiavellian playbook that they're using, but I would say it's just to fracture the vote. I would say this is an attempt to fracture the vote. Either they're going to push her because she's not really going to do what she says, or they're going to simply push her for the time being long enough to fracture the vote and then actually just get Biden in. Who knows, man? Now, yeah, you can scream conspiracy theory all you like, but we know that the DNC and the corporate media are corrupt. We have proof of this from WikiLeaks in 2016. So I'm not taking this out of my behind. This is proof that they are corrupt. This is fact. Don't put it past them to do corrupt things. They are corrupt by nature. This is what they do. And, when they're trying to slip it in there, oh, it's heart attack. And they slip it in again over and over every single day. They're conditioning you to associate bad health with Bernie Sanders. This is what they want. They want you to believe that he is unfit, physically unfit to become president and he's too sick. So they're conditioning you. They keep slipping in that thing about his heart attack over and over, making it out to be bigger than it is. Dude, all the candidates that are frontrunners right now are 70 plus years old. Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden. All right. 2 presidents have had stents put in them, Bill Clinton and Bush. This is not something new. Bernie's fine. Okay. And what they don't tell you is that Bernie's been campaigning nonstop for 4 years. He didn't win the primary, but he kept campaigning. You know why? Because he actually fights for working class people and believes in what he's fighting for. So he doesn't stop. He's not like these other candidates that, I lost the election. Well, I'm just going to go on break now. So, No, he's actually fighting for people all the time, even when it's not popular, even when it's not election season. That's why he's been tired out. And he's still going. He said he's going to tone down his campaign now. But even then, man, he's still going to be doing as much as the other candidates. He was already doing more. I think it's good that he's calling out Elizabeth Warren, but he needs to go harder. And man, I hope he does. He just has to. He can't be as kind as he was with Hillary Clinton last time. He can't be as kind as he is right now with Joe Biden. I think maybe he's waiting until the whole field narrows a bit. You got all the candidates, the garbage centrists like Buttigieg and Klobuchar and O'Rourke and all these idiots, until they finally drop out. And I hope then when it's really, really, really crunch time, when you only got Biden, Warren, and Sanders left, I think that's when he must absolutely go on the offensive. All right? I mean, even now he's kind of pushing it because they are right. She is overtaking him in the polls. This is true. This is actually happening. You know, we can't just pretend that it's not happening. But dude, she's deceiving people. She's deceiving people. You know, she's trying to appease both sides. She's trying to appease the donor class and appease progressives to fracture Bernie's base and take his supporters. He needs to go on the offensive. You know, and it's funny how they mentioned the polls. Okay, fair enough. She is surging in the polls and has been for a while. But they don't mention that Bernie Sanders is beating her and all the other candidates with the donations. I mean, Bernie Sanders has the most individual donors and the most money donated, all right? What was his latest haul? 25.3 million or something? It was 25 plus million, and he's already hit 1 million donors faster than any presidential candidate in history. I mean, that's a world record. How are you not bringing that up? If you want to talk numbers and popularity, you have to bring it up. This is money. And money is being given to his campaign by regular working class people. So why are you discarding that piece of information? If you want to talk about popularity and about how the grassroots movements are evolving, I mean, you need to bring it up, and they're not. So they're not being objective. They're just trying to show you, they're trying to condition you. Again, this is like, they're trying to feed this into your subconscious that, oh, Bernie Sanders is not doing well, even though tons of people are giving him money and he's raised the most money. Oh, Bernie Sanders' health is bad, even though it's fine and he's been doing more than all the other candidates. What is this? This is CNN. This is corporate media. Garbage. Absolute garbage. So yeah, this is the conclusion. Bernie, everyone loves what you're doing, but please go harder. Take him down. You're the only one who can do it.